Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about blue blocking glasses, why you might need them, what they do, whether they benefit you or not, and some places where you might want to buy these from, including these ones that we've had for a couple of years now, myself and my wife. So let's start with why you might want to block blue light. Essentially, our bodies are programmed, if you like, to receive certain colours of light from nature at certain times of the day. And our body, our genetics, the way our body signals and produces different molecules changes through the day, and some of that is dependent on light. So for example, if you want to sleep well and you want to produce melatonin at the right time and in the right amounts, then ideally you want to be following the same colours of light and amounts of light that you would naturally receive from the sun, from natural daylight throughout the day. So you would be getting up in the morning when there's quite low levels of light, when the sun is quite low, so you would be receiving much more reds and oranges and yellow colours from the sun. And then as the sun gets higher in the sky and gets brighter, and there's less of an atmosphere that the light from the sun has to penetrate, you start to get more and more towards the blue spectrum of light. It becomes much more even, the different colours of light from the light spectrum. And then again, as the day starts getting darker again, you get less and less blue light, and you would get more and more yellow and then orange and reds as the sun goes down. And then, of course, we're programmed to have no light at all, or maybe only the light from the moon as we are in the evenings and sleeping. So our body follows that cycle. A circadian rhythm, we call it. So you produce certain chemicals at certain wavelengths of light, certain times of the day. Then you produce different chemicals in the middle of the day, and then different chemicals again towards the end of the day, depending on the light. So in this modern world, that's a bit disturbed, isn't it? Because now we have, well, first we had candles, and candles weren't too much of a problem because candles naturally give off yellowy orange colours. So they weren't so much of a problem early in the day or late in the day when there wasn't light. And then as more modern times have come along, we have light bulbs, electricity, which we can switch on at any time. And the older incandescent bulbs weren't too bad with their profile of different colours. But of course, we've been getting rid of them, all under the excuse of, climate change and all of that kind of thing that's going on. So we are told that these modern light bulbs use less electricity, which, a lot of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them use a lot of electricity, actually. But the problem with a lot of these modern light bulbs, such as the ones controlled by LEDs and halogen lights, quite often they have a different profile to incandescent bulbs. And they very often, especially the ones that are white, the most commonly bought ones, if you look at their color profile, and you can quite easily find them online, you will see that there's a big spike quite often in the blue range of the spectrum. So not only are they giving you light at times of the day you are not naturally programmed to receive light, there's a huge spike in the blue spectrum of light. The blue light tends to excite the body. Blue light naturally is more in the middle of the day, so it's when we are more awake, more active. So our bodies tend to be energized, if you like, in blue light, which isn't necessarily what you want right at the start of the day or right at the end of the day especially. And of course it disrupts our hormones, disrupts our cell signaling molecules. It means that we don't produce the right chemicals at the right time, and that means it can be a problem falling asleep. It can be a problem in terms of diseases later in life if we continue to do this, related to hormones. So there's a whole bunch of different diseases that can happen, or can be, or at least be promoted by having the wrong wavelengths of light at the wrong times of the day, because it's not what our bodies are used to. So that's a whole other subject, the different problems that can be caused by it. As well as light bulbs, obviously computer screens, TV screens, mobile phone screens, they also have a big spike of blue. They have this big spike of blue so that the screens are quite bright, so it's easier to see, read text and see things clearly. But of course, again, that's not good for us if we're looking at these screens early in the day or late in the day and disrupting our natural rhythms. So that's why blue blocking glasses and all sorts of other things out there to limit our exposure to blue light have started to come about, started to become quite popular, and for a good reason, of course, because we don't want to promote disease in our bodies, of course, and we want to have a good night's sleep. So blue blocking glasses are one of those things, and they are quite good, to be honest, as long as you get the right ones. So there are lots and lots of blue blocking glasses out there, and they range in colours from almost see-through, no colour at all, to yellow, to oranges, to reds. If you look at the electromagnetic spectrum that goes from red to blue, in order to block out blue, you must be using a colour that's the other side to blue. So if glasses are red, then they must be blocking blue to only allow the red part of the spectrum through, if that makes sense. So if you truly wanted to completely block blue, glasses should be quite a dark red to completely block all wavelengths of blue. So these are quite a dark orange. So it's not blocking all wavelengths of blue light, but it is blocking some of it. And then as you get more into the yellow colours, I start to question whether you really are blocking any blue light at all, to be honest, with those yellow glasses. Maybe there's some technology in them. I haven't come across any specific explanations as to how yellow glasses might block blue light. Doesn't really make much sense to me. Maybe it blocks a little bit, but I wouldn't expect it to block much, if at all. And therefore, when we get into brands of glasses that are completely see-through, they don't seem to have any colour on them, yeah, you're probably not blocking any blue at all with those glasses, to be honest. Again, unless there's some specific technology in the lens, but of course they never seem to mention any specific technology, and so to me it doesn't seem like they could block any blue light at all. I haven't tested the yellow ones or the see-through ones, so I can't be sure, but it's just common sense that if they're not towards the orange and red colours of the spectrum, that it's probably not going to be blocking any blue light, to be honest. So bear that in mind if you are going to buy any blue blocking glasses. So some people who are really into mitigating the blue light from their screens, they would, if they're using computers a lot, they might use those yellow colours if the yellow colours work, or a lighter orange colour in the middle of the day, so that they're getting more towards what the natural light would produce. And then they would swap to an orange colour later in the day, maybe a darker orange in the evening as it's starting to get dark. And then as it gets dark, if they still want to be looking at computer screens and phones, then a red or a dark red would be better to completely block the blue. So that's what some people do if they use computers, TV screens, phone screens a lot. That's what people do if they're really serious about it. I personally don't bother in the middle of the day because I'm not using the computer screen that much. I don't really use my phone much. And a lot of the time when I'm using my computer, treating people, working with people, I've quite often got my eyes closed. And a lot of the time I'm also doing absent treatments as a healer, so I'm not even looking at a computer screen most of the day anyway. But sometimes I will put these on in the middle of the day. Usually I will only put them on as the day starts getting dark, when we're watching something on TV or some video or researching something on the computer, then I will use these. So people don't tend to see me wear these in the day. And I don't really bother with the red ones because as it starts to get dark, usually I'm thinking of going to bed or reading something from a book or doing something else. So I don't really feel like I need the red ones personally. And if I do watch something, I will use these that block some of the blue light at least. So do I recommend these? So these are the Swanwick glasses that I got from America. So that was the brand that my wife researched was most recommended at the time. To be honest, with Swanwick, you probably are paying a little bit more money just for the styling of it, and because Swanwick are quite well known. Regardless of that, they do seem to have an effect. My wife notices it much more than me, probably because I'm a healer and I'm constantly being aware of my energetic field and paying attention to it, being with it, and any detrimental energies that I receive, I mitigate to some extent. But I still do feel some benefit from wearing these if we do a lot of computer work or watch TV in the evenings. My wife notices it more, as I say. She finds that when she uses these, when she's watching her TV shows at night, that it's easier to sleep. She has a better night's sleep wearing these. And especially when it's quite dark and when she's wearing these, she will actually feel a little bit more sleepy, like the glasses are helping to promote sleep in her. So those are the sorts of things we've noticed personally. Like I've said in many videos before, myself and my wife are pretty healthy in many aspects of our lives. We have a pretty good diet, we exercise, we make sure we go to bed at the right time. So generally speaking, we don't really have any diseases or any particular issues with sleeping that other people do. So we haven't noticed any changes with that because we don't really have a problem with that. So yes, based on the science that I understand with how light works and what chemicals are produced in the body, and how the small effect I felt and the bigger effect my wife has felt to verify what science says, I do recommend getting these if you do a lot of computer work or you look at screens a lot. They are quite useful. It's only protecting the light coming to your eyes though. You are digesting light through your skin as well. So while this does have quite an impact, and the light from the eyes does impact certain hormones and chemicals being produced in your body, there's still light hitting other areas of your body, so it's not protecting you against that. So for example, thyroid issues are quite common these days, so a big part of that is toxins in our environment, in our food, in vaccinations and so on out there. Toxins everywhere these days. But another impact, another thing that can promote problems with your thyroid is light hitting your thyroid. So again, the thyroid is an organ that produces hormones that promote energy, help you feel energized. Thyroxine, triiodothyronine, that kind of thing. So obviously light hitting directly that gland is going to affect it. And so if you are working a lot with computer screens, phones, TVs, and have that light hitting your throat, especially if you do have a thyroid problem, then it's a good idea to cover up your thyroid. So that's just one example of something that blue blocking glasses won't help you with directly. So do have a look into other products, other things that you can do. Obviously, the best thing you can do is to not look at computer screens, phones, TVs, and have these modern types of light bulbs on when it's dark, when you would naturally be in dark. So mitigate the amount of time you spend in front of these sorts of screens is by far the best way of looking after yourself, looking after your health. But of course, we're in the modern world, so blue blocking glasses can be helpful, as well as other things that I've covered in my written blog on my website, such as software you can download so that it naturally changes the light on your phone to be more towards the red spectrum, later in the day. You can do that on your computer as well. I wouldn't suggest you use the programs that come with the phones. So I know that Apple, I know that Samsung phones come with software that claim to be blue blocking, but to be honest, they are rubbish. They really don't block much, if at all, blue light, to be honest, compared to free software that you can easily download that are much better and actually are much better at blocking or mitigating the blue light, should I say. Okay, so if you're in America, it's pretty easy to get hold of Swanwick. I do recommend them. There probably are other brands that are cheaper. I haven't tested them out. I don't know what wavelengths of light they might block, but you are more than willing to, I'm more than happy for you to go and research that yourself to see what wavelengths of light they may block out, to see if they are similar to Swanwick. So please do go and research that for yourself. If you are in the UK or Europe, myself and my wife do recommend Block Blue Light. I'll just make sure I got the right address here. Yeah, blockbluelight.co.uk. We do recommend that particular website because they clearly have done their research, and we've watched different interviews with people from that particular company. So we do like what they are selling, and they do quite often have set money off codes, for their website. If you subscribe to their website and give their email address, they're quite often sending money off discounts, so we do recommend those as well. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Like I say, I do have a much more detailed description of why different wavelengths of light can be harmful for you. Much more scientific description of that on my written blog on my website. So have a look at grantpodesta.com, have a look at the written blog, and you will find quite some time ago I did write quite some detailed descriptions of how it affects your body and what you can do. Not just blue blocking glasses, but other methods you can use to mitigate the effects of blue light on your body. If there's any other questions, let me know in the comments, and of course you can email me if you wish, and I will see you in the next video.